Blinken calls out other countries for not demanding Hamas surrender and stop hiding behind civilians.
This post received a score of 8,200, with an upvote ratio of 84%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
This is the most satisfyingly true and yet sad thing I've heard for a while from a political figure. Hamas can stop this immediately. Russia can stop their war immediately. Tensions over Taiwan end immediately if China stops. The aggressor is the responsible party.
So, some would say that this would be over immediately if Israel stopped the occupation. I know this because I finally got up the nerve to have a discussion with a radical lefty.
The entire Arab League and many other countries' leaders are only interested in Palestinians being Israel's problem. They don't care for peace, human rights or any of that. It's just a stick to beat, delegitimize Israel with. They all know a ceasefire is temporary at best, until Hamas regains confidence.
And then we all do it again.
TBF, it's all going to repeat again if Israel wins anyway, it'll just be a different brand of terrorist group. Because a bombed-out husk of a territory with no economy is prime recruiting grounds for terrorist orgs, and Israel seems to have entered into this with as much planning for the post-war as the US did in Iraq 2003. It's going to continue the cycle either way, terrorist attacks by one and war crimes, illegal settlements by the other, on and on. This is just a particularly vicious cycle this time round, by both sides, compared to the low-intensity attacks both combatants normally do.
Bad comparison, Gaza Strip is much smaller than Iraq, and can be controlled. Plus even if something new will sprout it won't get to the point of being government of Gaza.
I mean, occupation would also be a driver for terrorism, and could just as easily see a Troubles-style situation of insurgency in the territory that costs a lot of soldiers' lives, as well as continued bombings, mortar or in this case missile attacks against the occupying state's core territories. I mean, we have plenty of case studies that show that holding territory doesn't kill insurgent groups.
Hamas, of course, famously swayed by public opinion. They actually really are, ironically. They know they can't beat us in a conventional war. Their entire process is essentially the most cynical PR war you can imagine, the goal being to, long-term, isolate Israel. Every time their actions have led to actual potential PR losses, they scramble to fix shit. They are completely reliant on foreign aid for everything, including their terrorism ironically, and Iran won't act until they're certain we're alone.
The Pashto word for propaganda doesn't have the sort of negative connotation that it does in English. The Taliban were proud of their propaganda. The effectiveness of their propaganda was propaganda in and of itself. Literally, it would be in their pamphlets, "Our propaganda is stronger than the West's," this prevalent across the Middle East and Central Asia. Maybe further, but that's the limit of my experience. It's a key cultural difference people in the West seem to have trouble understanding.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.